We're going to chase those crazy bald heads. We're going to chase those crazy bald heads. We're going to chase those crazy bald heads out of the yard. We're going to chase those crazy. Chase those crazy. We're going to chase those crazy bald heads out of the yard. Good morning, believers. Good morning, Israel. Monday morning. Looks like our hurricane has passed. Maybe not. I could be wrong. The weather is hard to predict these days. Good morning, JD Nija. Sunset Beach, California, world famous surf city. So, I hope you all had a good weekend. Mine was okay. Went to a celebration of life. Celebration of life. One of our beer buddies, one of our pub buddies, passed away. A guy named Goddamn Joe. Super well liked gentleman. 59 years old. Colon cancer. I don't know what to say. Don't know what to say. He's lucky, blessed to get out of here. I knew his wife, girlfriend for a long time, a lady named Sandy. And I hadn't seen her for a few years, so that was a nice surprise. Yeah, she lost a good friend. So there's that. So, you know, we've been talking a lot. I'm going to just start blabbing. We've been speaking a lot about Satan and Judas Iscariot and King Saul, and how spiritual life lessons and people like Street Ministers for Christ, Tony Baloney Williams, you know, the Bible speaks over and over again about false prophets. And so the big takeaway from the studies that I did this weekend, it was really interesting because I don't know if the algorithm is just that good. It pulled up the Chuck Missler lesson on, I think it was 1 Peter, but I was listening to both 1 Peter and 2 Peter. But that's how unschooled some of these so-called Bible teachers, if you could call them that. I just call them false prophets because they don't know the Bible well enough, and they don't respect the Lord enough to keep their big fat mouths shut. So what Chuck was talking about is how the true prophets of the Lord, and he got into it, how upset Peter, if you read those verses on these false prophets that know not the way of the Lord, and they speak evil on dignitaries, and they don't know principalities, and he basically calls them a bunch of flat out losers, jackasses. And so that's the point Chuck Missler was bringing out, is that it's well understood by most people that have any knowledge about the Bible that even Michael didn't rail against Satan. And so, you know, for all the shitty that GMS is, you know, they have some shitty backup doctrine. Their main themes are wrong, but they're in the right train and they're on the right tracks, but they're going the wrong direction. That's their problem. At least they know Gabar, Tahar, I don't know about Rakar, but Aramlab, those guys actually know spiritual things, even though they don't always show it because they're kind of carnal with their whole, I'm not going to go into their doctrine. You know, Joseph is the father and all that, but Chuck just brought it out, just like I probably heard it 15 years ago. That's why I know these things. I've been studying for a long time. And so when I originally learned that you don't talk bad about principalities and powers because you're setting yourself up for a big fuck up. Yeah, so there's that. I just wanted to get that off my chest because these guys, you know, stupid really follows stupid, and that's where we see in this world. So this story, the other story that he brought up, it was, it had to do with 2 Peter. I don't remember how he tied it in, but he was talking about, and this ties in with the same theme. A lot of times, like King Saul was replaced by King David, was replaced by King Solomon. Moses, when he smote the rock instead of talking to the rock, he had to be replaced. He kind of screwed up there. He didn't do what the Lord told him to do. And that's the point I wanted to make is, I'm going to go back there and we'll read a little bit about the scripture, but when we tell these stupid, unschooled, unspiritual, so-called teacher prophets like the Muppets, spiritual life lessons, I mean, a true prophet gets really upset because these guys don't know the problems they're causing, not only themselves, but the people that listen to them. And the more they scoff and mock, the more they're showing their evil, wicked side. And I don't know what to say about them. I'm going to let God handle that. The point I was going to make is that, what was it, demoted? Moses was demoted. He was taken out. He was replaced. Saul was replaced. David was replaced. Elijah was replaced. There's always someone next to carry out the word of the Lord. If your job is done, your job is done. You did what you were supposed to do. It follows the story. So you have to look at the Bible as a story that is making a quilt of truth. So that being said, I forgot what I had another main point I was going to get to, but it slipped out of my mind. But anyway, what is it? 1 Kings, 2 Kings 2. This is interesting. I haven't read this in a long time. This has some pretty good stuff in here. So this is when Elijah gets taken up. The prophet Elijah prophesied against King Ahaz and Jezebel, and he embarrassed the prophets of Baal with the fire lighting the sacrifice, the cow or whatever they were sacrificing. Elijah made the rain stop and all that. So I'm going to read 2:1, Elijah and Elisha. And the point I want to make before I get going is that Elijah became John the Baptist. And when we read through this, who did Elisha become? Because there's some interesting intertwining here. We talk a lot about the intertwining of certain tribes, people, depending on what the circumstances are, but there's parts of the story that intertwine mostly people, but things too. So I'm going to just start. And it came to pass when the Lord would take up Elijah into heaven by a whirlwind that Elijah went with Elisha to Gilgal. Verse 2, and Elijah said unto Elisha, tarry here, I pray thee, for the Lord has sent me to Bethel. And Elisha said unto him, as the Lord lives, as my soul liveth, I will not leave thee. So they went down to Bethel. And the sons of the prophet that were at Bethel came forth to Elijah and said unto him, do you know that the Lord will take your master away from thy head today? And he said, yea, I know it. Hold your peace. So the prophets, they already had vision that they were going to be separated. And they met him there. They had a job to do, and they did it. They are prophets. They are servants of the Lord. We have to really understand the servanthood. I'm being very careful, maybe too careful. I might be not doing enough, believe it or not, or I'm doing too much and not enough of something else. So I'm going to just, until he like stomps me, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. So let me continue. Verse 4, prophets at Jericho and Jordan, and Elijah said unto him, Elisha, tarry here, I pray thee, for the Lord has sent me to Jericho. And he said, as the Lord lives, as my soul lives, I will not leave thee. So they went to Jericho. Jericho is in Benjamin, by the way. And the sons of the prophet, Bethel was in Benjamin too, I think, on the border of Judah. And the sons of the prophets that were at Jericho came to Elisha, and said unto him, do you know that the Lord's going to take away your master from your head today? And he answered, yea, I know it. Hold your peace. And Elijah said to him again, tarry, I pray thee here, for the Lord has sent me to the Jordan. And he said, as the Lord lives, I will not leave you. And the two went on to the Jordan. And 50 men of the sons of the prophets went and stood to view afar off, and they too stood by Jordan. Let me get this to view, facing them at a distance. So they had the vision. They got the word, they heard, they went onto the prophets as prophets. The prophets are subject to the prophets, right? So when you think of Tahar and Gabar and just anyone, at this point, anyone, if you're not seeing me correctly, if you're not reverencing me as the teacher, pastor, prophet, Bible scholar that I am, servant, that's, I don't know how to say it. I'm not going to boast. I'm just saying there's something missing here that's so obvious that there's only one Elisha following me, basically, as my roommate. That's I guess it fits the story, but anyway. So these prophets, they're sticking with it. They went from here to there to there, and they're like going, hey man, something's going on here. You're gonna, right? So Elijah took his mantle and wrapped it together and smote the waters, and they were divided hither and thither, so that the two went over on dry ground. Just like passing through the Israelites passing through the Red Sea. Verse 9, 2 Kings. And it came to pass when they were gone over that Elijah said unto Elisha, ask what I shall do for thee before I be taken away from you. And Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me. So before I started, I read a commentary on this section, Elisha and Elijah. And the telling thing for me was that Elisha followed Elijah everywhere he went. And they made a point of that he was loyal, he was dedicated, he was disciplined, he was courageous, and he loved the Lord, and he loved the prophet. How did he get a double portion? For just those reasons. You understand what this means? And that's why I said, what is wrong with these guys that they can't go, J.D. Nigel, we see that you have power and authority. Sorry, we're going to listen to your messages and we'll comment on your messages instead of me having to comment on their nonsense. Wouldn't it be better if they would follow me? Just saying. We could move ahead a lot quicker. So Elisha got a double portion. Why? Because of the dedication, devotion, love. He had the fruits of the Spirit. And he said, thou hast asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if you see me when I am taken from thee, it shall be so unto thee. But if not, it shall not be. Oh boy. Sexy. And it came to pass as they still went on and talked that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder, and Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. So what was this chariot of fire? That was one of the UFOs or whatever they call them. Those are the angels of the Lord. He got taken up. Supposedly it's going to happen in the rapture. I have a hard time with that, being Israel. I don't get to leave. I don't think I get out of here. Maybe. And Elijah saw it and he cried. So the other point I wanted to make, how many times did Elisha tell Elijah, no, I'm not going to leave you? 3 times. How many times did Peter deny Jesus? 3 times. There's this reoccurring theme of the Lord will make a point by either saying it twice or repeating something 3 times. So every time Elisha continued on the journey, and that's what we have to remember. This is a journey, people. We're going somewhere. We're going home. Are you going to trust your eternal destiny to just any old 5 and dime map? That's the other amazing thing to me, is that people don't take this shit seriously. They're like, oh, this is fun. I like the Muppets. I like those 2. They're funny. Yeah, they are. They're real funny. Boy. And Elisha saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel, and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more. And he took hold of his own clothes and rent them in 2 pieces. So he tore his clothes. He saw the UFOs. He saw the angels in their multi-dimensional craft, or whatever you call them, right? He took up also the mantle of Elijah, and that fell on him, and went back and stood by the bank of the Jordan. And he took the mantle of Elijah that fell on him and smote the waters. Where is the Lord God of Elijah? And when he had also smitten the waters, they parted hither and thither, and Elisha went over. And when the sons of the prophets, which were to view at Jericho, saw him, what are the prophets? What is this driving home? They have vision. They're called seers. What do we see? We see the pattern. And that's where I trip out. I was listening to Gabar this morning, and he was talking about prophecy as prediction fulfillment, because he's talking about the mark of the beast. All you got to know is when you're in that line, and they're going, chip, right lane, guillotine, left lane, you get in the left lane. That's all you got to know. I've been saying this for years. Chip or guillotine? Guillotine. I'm not going to make a point of it. If you don't know that, you might as well go listen to Muppets. They're going to try and give you something. You're going to know that you don't want it. Just like that punch. No. That was a good test for some of us that know better. And when the sons of the prophets, which were to view at Jericho, saw him, they said, the spirit of Elijah does rest on Elisha. And they came to meet him and bowed themselves to the ground before him. Do you understand? Do you think these guys aren't prideful? You think I'm arrogant and fucking full of myself? Compare that to Muppet 1 and Muppet 2 and Street Ministers for Christ. These guys do not know what they're seeing. They can't be prophets. They can't really be teachers. They're going to lead you astray. They're false prophets. Because what did the prophets do? They saw the whole thing. They witnessed the whole fucking thing. The whole story, sorry. The whole damn thing. They saw it. They viewed it. They heard it. They saw it. They witnessed it. They're witnesses. They're watchers. They're watching. What they do, they bowed down and said, man, this motherfucker's got the power. Why people are so stubborn these days, I have no idea. Let me see how much time I got. All right, I'll be back. We're going to talk about Moses, and I want to go over Saul's death again. So we see the point I'm making on this one also is that we're in a timeline. This place has time. That's why it's the pit. God's outside of time. He's doing what he's doing to fulfill prophecy, people. Oh, Satan's going to fuck everything up. Satan's not fucking anything up. I mean, you have to be almost disabled in some way, placard. You have a disability of some kind. These guys have a disability and they're trying to teach you the Bible. Oh boy. And they said unto him, behold, now, then I'll be back. There be with thy servants 50 strong men. Let them go, we pray thee, and seek thy master, lest peradventure the Spirit of the Lord has taken him up and cast him upon some mountain or into some valley. And he said, you shall not send. And when they urged him till he was ashamed, he said, send. They sent therefore 50 men, and they sought 3 days, but found him not. And when they came again to him, for he tarried in Jericho, he said unto them, did I not say unto you, don't go? That was another one we need to get into. Chuck was going into the sins of Balaam or Balaam when he was asked to curse Israel by Barak. And that story's always been just really hard to understand. And Chuck gave me a clear understanding of what was going on there and why, even though Balaam was a prophet of the Lord, He just veered a little bit. He just veered a little bit. That's why we have to be careful. I'm going to go into the story because it's very interesting how just veering a little bit, your heading is due north, and man, you went off by 2 degrees. And if you're going for any length of time, that's why regeneration is that's how we understand regeneration. Man, you got spiritual life lessons veered off 1 or 2 degrees way back, and now they were someone probably, and they went, oh yeah, we're somebody. And they, just like these prophets, Elisha told them, don't go. And that's what the Lord had told Balaam. Barak's calling for me, Lord. Should I go? Should I go? Talk to him? He's all, no, don't go. And Barak ended up, I'll have to get into the story because it's very subtle how it happens. So J.D. Nyes, Word of Truth. Just remember, people, the book has cheat codes. There's hacks. And part of the hacks is getting a basic understanding of who the prophets are. Who is Moses? Who is Jesus? Who is God? If we can get a clear idea on how the story's set up, the codes open up. That's what's happening now. The seals are getting broken. And these stupid Negroes are like stuck in reverse. It's the weirdest thing. So I'll be back. We'll talk a little bit about Saul and about Moses. J.D. Nyes, Word of Truth. I'm out.